Congratulations on the brand new album. This is an absolutely amazing album, and we're about to play the brand new single on our show as well, so congratulations.
Yeah, cheers, man. I appreciate it.
So, mate, tell us a little bit about this album because it's such a fantastic album. It feels like everything comes together from your past on this album with something fresh. So, tell us a little bit about this album and what you guys were trying to achieve with this album.
Yeah, I feel like we're at like a perfect age as a band where we kind of know what we want and we know how to get it now. Like I feel like having 8 albums, like you can go through a lot, at least I can go through all those albums and like see the growth and see where, maybe we didn't know how to put our foot down in certain places. Maybe we were, I can just go back and kind of like see the mistakes I've made, but also see like a lot of the good and things that we've done and like when we've stuck to our guns and stuff. And I just feel like with the experience that we've had touring and writing, and being a band for 17 years, like just where we are as human beings and as players and songwriters, we just know we have more information and we have more knowledge. So it's like, I know who I want to make as a team and being more proactive and not leaving things up to other people. So like getting with Ryan, the producer, Ryan Ogren, who did Visions and Oxygen and Passive. So we worked well with him. Like we just knew there was magic, and it finally lined up time wise. And also we look at our live show, and we look at like what could be better in our live show. What are we not necessarily lacking, but what do we need more of? What do we need less of? Up tempos, mid tempos, things like that. So we just got in the studio and over the pandemic, and like one, we had time. Two, we were kind of forced to be home, so why not lock yourself in the studio? And like, to be honest, I think this is probably the best album that we've ever written when it comes to like, you just can't really poke any holes in it,
Yeah. Did the pandemic change how you went around recording the album? Because of course here in Australia, we couldn't have, I think it was more than 2 people in a studio at a time. Did you have any restrictions like that? And if so, how did you go about going around them?
No, I mean, if there were those restrictions, I don't think anybody would have listened to them. So, in Orange County it was, not to be insensitive to the situation, but it wasn't that terrible down here in Orange County, Southern California, where I'm from. And, we just stuck to ourselves and just locked the studio out. And there was, just the band and the producer. And we just, if it changed anything, it just gave us more time. That's it,
Yeah. Yeah, what was that like not being able to do shows? Because, of course, you guys are so well known for your amazing live shows. What was that like not being on the road and getting that chance to work on the album?
I mean, to be honest, we needed it, and we didn't know that we needed it. Like we have been touring. I didn't know this. I didn't know this fact until the pandemic. We had been touring for almost 17 years straight. Up until the pandemic.
Yeah.
I had no idea. It's just what I do. It's what we do. We just, we're like pirates. We just, this is just part of who we are now. So when we were forced to stay home, like I said, not to be insensitive to the situation, but like it was like kind of a smack in the head, like, whoa, maybe we need to like kind of reevaluate things. And like it was just nice to be home with our families for an extended period of time and not have something always coming up and like enjoying my home, enjoying the things that all the hard work kind of got, that I have from all this hard work, and like really take time and surf with my friends and train. And like, it just made us really all look at like the importance of being home and family and, knowing that we will be okay if we don't tour 200 days a year. We can tour 100 days a year, and that's still fine, so it really, kind of changed perspective for us, which was really cool. And also it made me, not that I wasn't excited, I don't want anybody to take this the wrong way, but it made me excited to play music again,
Yeah.
like to have that long of a break. Like I was getting kind of burnt out on like rehearsals and practices and like, really long tours and stuff. So like getting a big break, I was like, dude, I'm so ready to go play shows and like be out with our fans and looking at the set list and like looking at rehearsals and taking them a little bit more serious and like just kind of relit the fire,
Yeah, a lot of artists that we've had on the show have actually said that they didn't realize until the pandemic that pre-pandemic shows had just become another thing for them. And they said they've realized when that was taken away and they couldn't do that, that excitement has come back now. So when they go out to do a show, they feel excited. But they said previous to that, it was kind of like, oh yeah, just another show. So is that something that you've been experiencing as well, that excitement about being able to get back out there and play for your fans again?
Good. I feel good. I was like trying to like sugarcoat that answer.
Yeah.
Like trying to not sound like a dick, but if I'm not the only one, yeah, man. Like you get to a point where like I said, like this is just what we do. We play shows. This is like part of, this is the main part of our career. That's really how I look at it. Like streaming's great, social media, whatever. Like that's all fine and good. But what I care about is, ticket sales and like if people are showing up to the shows having a good time, like raging and like, yeah, that kind of got just, it was so normalized and embedded in us that when it was finally gone, we were like, oh man, I missed this, and before it wasn't, I didn't miss it. It was just part of it. And, by the end of the tour, I'd be like, okay, I'm done. I don't want to play shows anymore. I want to write an album. I want to do this. Like, there's definitely a point in each tour where you're like, okay, I'm ready to go home, and like this tour, by the end of this last tour that we just finished up a couple weeks ago, I was like, man, I could stay out another couple weeks,
Yep. Now, a lot of people have discovered the band as well over the past few years with the Vacation Transition Challenge on TikTok. Tell us a little bit about that and how that came about and what you feel that's done for your fan base.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's done a lot. Like, so I'm sitting in my like game room / movie room right here. Like, I have my like Xbox set up, and I remember I was sitting playing like with a couple buddies of mine. One of the guys is a college kid playing Xbox. And he's like, dude, your song Vacation is blowing up on TikTok. And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, it's trending. I was like, what are you talking about? He's like, bro, it's everywhere. I was like, what? So I like hit up my manager. I was like, what's going on with Vacation? He's like, bro, it's absolutely crushing on TikTok. I don't have TikTok. And I like go on social media, and the next thing you know, it kind of blows up, like not necessarily overnight, but it was super organic. We were sitting at home playing video games during the pandemic, so it's like timing wise, that was really cool. And also that song was 4 years old, and I just like, this is, I think, a big pro about streaming and social media. It's taking away the gatekeepers.
Yeah.
We tried to put out Vacation as a single 4 years ago. And radio said no. They're like, no, it's, we don't need something like this, or we don't think it's a single, or we don't think it's strong enough. And we're like, dude, this song is. And they're like, no. We're like, okay, cool, whatever. And we just kept going. 4 years later, social media gets a hold of it. It, gets billions of views. It goes platinum in 6 months. It makes other songs of ours speed up and go gold. Like all good things, right? From just the song getting discovered on TikTok from social media. So it's like, as much as people want to hate on it, for musicians, like it really, really does help. And now radio wants to play Vacation. And it's just funny. And I just like, if there are any musicians out there listening, like nobody knows. Nobody knows what the next single is. Nobody knows what a smash is. Nobody knows how to write a single every time, or else you'd be an absolute billionaire. So just keep doing you, and hopefully cool things happen. But yeah, it definitely brought a lot of new fans, and like even we've never been to Australia. It's like on a world scale, it got eyes to us, which is cool, because we want to go back to South America. Our album dropped today, and we're already like number 2 in Canada. We need to get out to Australia and some festivals and start touring. And I think Vacation opened up a lot of doors. So it was, nothing but good came of it. So we're super stoked. And to be able to like write music that people are connecting with, generationally, whether it's 16-year-old kids, 20-year-old kids, 30-year-old kids, 40-year-old people, 50-year-old people, like you don't necessarily have to like all these bands worrying about TikTok and doing trends and stuff. Like you don't have to worry about it. Just make the music good, and it'll happen,
Yeah, it was interesting that you mentioned that you think the gatekeeper has disappeared, because we've seen over the last couple of years things change, even here in Australia. I mean, Kate Bush's Running Up the Hill went to number 1 again in our country because of Stranger Things being on Netflix and things like that.
Right.
Like, do you feel that that's been a switch over the past few years, and now it feels like social media is working for artists rather than against artists?
I do. I really do. And I do feel like that labels and the machine are trying to figure out how to play that game, you know, in their favor, which is fine. I get it. It's going to happen. But like right now, it really is just kind of leaving things in the hands of the listener. And I think that's healthier. You know, I think that's much healthier. Like we started right before Napster hit. Like we got signed to Warner Brothers, and then Napster and pirating came out, and then we got dropped, and they gave us our album, and then streaming came out. So like we've been a band through like from CD sales to now, so we've kind of seen it all. And it's just so funny, you know, that a handful of people can kind of tell you what you're supposed to listen to on the radio. And not knocking you guys, we're not knocking radio. They've done a lot for us. You know, or a handful of execs at labels, or, you know, telling everybody what to listen to. You know, when you were a kid and you only had $12 to go buy a CD, there was only like a couple options. Now you can go on Spotify and sit there for hours and find new bands, you know, so for new independent bands, I think it's fantastic because it's giving you so many different avenues to blow up if you want to do it yourself and not go that route, which you know, doing it yourself and staying independent is great. And there's also pros to having a label and having a team and having a machine behind you. You know, there's just however you want to do it. You know.
Yeah. Oh, and don't worry about knocking radio. That's the whole reason. And my listeners know this. This is why I left commercial radio and built a digital radio station with my friends, because I was tired of being told on air you can't play that track because that record label hasn't bought advertising with the station and stuff like that.
Exactly.
I just want to play the best music that's out there for my listeners. So, yeah, don't worry about that.
Hell yeah. Cheers, man. That's sick. That's awesome.
So, mate, you mentioned about coming to Australia. We would be so excited if you guys were able to tour in Australia. Is that something that you feel is realistic for the next couple of years?
I mean, it's realistic, but I just want to get one thing out of the way. I'm absolutely terrified of you guys, just to let you know. Like, I don't know if it's just my friends. Like, I don't know if it's my Aussie friends, but whenever they come over here and they stay at my house, I feel like they take years off of my life. And, like, it's my job to party, right? Like, I know we can party most people under the table, like, really hard. But when my buddies come from Australia, I'm like, dude, I don't even know if my body can handle this anymore. So now I got to go down there, and it's a whole country of you guys. One, I'm either not coming back, or I don't, you know, or I don't know if I can go. But we're super stoked to get down there because we know we have fans, because we can see it. And I'm just surprised we haven't yet, you know? So, yeah, we're definitely talking to our booking agent, looking at festivals, trying to get stuff. So it's definitely in the works. It was just the pandemic. We were even talking about it before the pandemic.
Yeah.
But like I said, vacation really helped. So now promoters and people are looking at getting us down there, which is cool, because if we can start growing down there and touring down there, and I don't have to spend a winter anywhere, I can just do summer here and then summer there, like, I'll be a happy boy.
Definitely. And I think coming from Orange County, you'll fit in really, really well. A lot of people tell us here in Australia that Australia is very much like California, like the different aspects of California. So I've had friends come and stay here in Melbourne from California, and they've gone, this just feels like California. Like it's... Yeah, we don't have the amazing beaches in Melbourne that you guys have. We have a beach kind of thing, but yeah, a lot of my friends tell me it's the same kind of laid-back vibe that California has. The one thing you probably will notice, and everybody points this out, is your fans will go nuts at your shows. People come to Australia to do shows, and they say, I've never seen crowds be like that before. There's just something, we call it the feral factor. At shows. Yeah. So, yeah, be prepared for that.
I'm not surprised, man. I'm not surprised. You guys like to party. You guys know how to party. And, yeah, it's like I do – same with my friends that come. It's like, you know, it's a big surf culture. So a lot of my friends come here and surf and contests and stuff and go back to Oz. So it's like if I could go down there, tour for a little bit, take a couple weeks off, cruise around and go surf, it'd be, you know, and that's what I'm saying, that it seems like the cultures are kind of similar.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where our music comes from, and that's why I feel like a lot of people that do hit us up from Australia are like, how have you guys not made it down here yet? You know?
Yeah. Well, we kind of have a weird stat in that in our country, of all the states, only one capital city is not based by the ocean. So I think there was a stat recently where they said 90% of Australia's population live within 100 kilometres of the coastline. So that surf culture is pretty much everywhere right across the country.
Dude, that's rad, because, I mean, part of, like, touring is not hard, but like growing up in the water and growing up 5 minutes from the beach, like halfway through tour, I get like landlocked and I start getting weird. And then once you get by the ocean, and you're like, oh, and it's like a huge relief. So if we could just tour and be always by the ocean, I'd be pretty stoked.
Well, you pretty much would be, because the only capital the only capital city that's inland here is so small that most bands don't go there when they come here. So yeah, you'll be in your element.
We're gonna go there. Then we'll go there. We'll go everywhere.
So, mate, we are about to play Make Me on the show for the very first time. So what would you like to say to all of your listeners out there before they take a listen to this track, but also before they go out and grab the album today as well?
Yeah, we just appreciate the support and enjoy. You know, this is what I think. If you're a new fan, this is probably like the best of what you're getting from the Dirty Heads. And if you're an old fan, then you're gonna love it also. We wrote this for you guys, and we're stoked, and we hopefully can get down there soon.
Well, Jared, thank you so much for taking the time to chat to us today. It's been an honor having you on the show, and we cannot wait to see you in Australia sometime very, very soon.